In this video, I'm going to show you how to place the low pressure fuel pump on this Lexus IS250. This will be located underneath your back seat on the driver's side. Let's get started. In the engine compartment on the driver's side, you'll see this cover right here. This is for your main junction box or fuse box. At the front, if you push on the tab, you can take the cover right off. Now, on the cover, you'll see what all of the fuses and relays do. What we're looking to do is remove this fuse right here, which is for the fuel pump. That corresponds with this 25 amp fuse. To get it out, you could just use the installed fuse puller. Take that off. Now, with this unplugged, the fuel pump will not run. So to relieve fuel pressure, all you need to do is crank the engine over. It may start and then stumble and die out, or it might not start at all. With that done, let's move to the back seat. We'll have to remove the lower cushion to access the fuel pump. I recommend having both of your front seats slid all the way forward with the backrest all the way up to create some extra space for you to work. Now reach underneath the center of each cushion on the back seat and pull straight up. With those popped out, remove the bottom of the back seat. On the driver's side is where your fuel pump is going to be. On the passenger side is the transfer pump. So it transfers fuel from one half of the tank to this one. So with a small pry bar, we're going to lift up this cap. This is just held on with some butyl tape. There is no hardware. It just needs to be slowly and gently pried right up and out of the way. Careful with this butyl tape, it's extremely sticky. I'm going to pop this grommet through. Give me extra slack in the cap. Before I unplug the fuel pump connector, I'm going to use a vacuum and vacuum all of this debris away. The connector, the locking tab for it, is mostly stuck just because of debris that got in there, so I'm hoping that vacuuming will free up this connector as well. Now we'll try to press on this tab, pull the connector up. There we go. We'll set this aside. Let's disconnect this fuel line. It's got a retaining clip, and the tabs on the retaining clip need to be opened up this way and the clip pushed straight out. Just like that. Now you do need to fully remove it. You can't just remove it partially. So just squeeze the tabs through. There we go. We'll set that aside. Now you can twist and pull on the fuel line, and that should release it from the pump. We'll set that aside, and we'll do the same to the other line. Same style clip, just needs to be pushed out, and a lot of times these have a lot of debris that causes them to be stuck. You want to be very careful not to break these because we will be reusing them. All right, we'll lift this up, set that aside. Now we'll use an 8mm socket and remove all the bolts holding this fuel pump down. Try to do this by hand. That way you can feel if any of these bolts are bound up. Sometimes these do end up breaking, so you just want to be careful. This is my last one. Keep in mind the fuel pump may pop up and out on this one. Yep, perfect. Push these out of the way. And we'll remove the lock ring. Set this aside. And here is your fuel pump. Once it's out like this, we will need to remove this hose which comes from the transfer pump. With some pliers, pinch this clamp, move it back, try to get this hose off. There we go. Fuel will spill. That hose fell inside the fuel tank, but that's totally fine. With a gloved hand, we can easily grab it. And there's your fuel pump. Let this drain, of course. You want to put as much of the gas back in the tank as possible and spill the least amount possible. Now, take your new fuel pump, and first we'll have to fish that hose out. It actually comes from the top of the tank, so it shouldn't be too difficult to reach. I'm going to slide it onto the pump, and then of course clamp it on. All right, when I clamp it, I'm going to ensure that it is fully seated still, which it is. So now put the float in, and then drop in the rest of your fuel pump, just like so. Now if you had your new fuel pump, you would have a new O-ring gasket that comes with it. That has to slide underneath this mounting surface. I'm going to press the pump down just to cover the hole basically, and I will use compressed air to blow out all the threaded holes because they have some rust and debris inside of them. Now take your lock ring and you want to line it up right here. It's got an indentation with a little tab. It's the only way that's going to fit. We'll press this down. Right here, it also is going to have a cutout so that you can line it up with the tank. There we go. We'll hold this down and start in a couple of the bolts. That's going to allow me to let go and then start in the rest. It doesn't matter which ones you start, as long as you are able to thread a few of them on. All right, I have 3 started. Let's put in the rest of them and then we'll tighten everything up. With all of them started, let's snug them up in a cross pattern. That's going to allow the fuel pump and the lock ring to seat evenly. Now I'll go around in a circle and give them all a little bit extra. These are very small bolts. They're delicate. You don't want to break them or strip them out. Most 1/8 of a turn after everything bottoms out is plenty tight. Just needs to hold this lock ring down evenly. Everything is now tightened, so let's reconnect our lines. First this one, make sure it fully engages and it's fully bottomed out. I heard it click. I'm going to put in my lock. There we go, that locks in. If the lock doesn't slide in, most likely your line is not fully seated. Do the same to this one. All right, and now the fuel pump connector. Make sure that clicks. Now put this back on. It's got a bump right here and a tab over here that it all lines up with. And all you need to do is just put constant pressure on it, and the butyl tape will do the rest of the job for you. You just need to make sure that it actually is pressed on all the way. So just lean over it, press it down. And now let's put this back in. Okay, that's fully seated. Now we can put our seat back. We're going to have to slide the seat belt buckles or latches through. With those slid in, press the back down so it can hook behind the seat. Press the whole cushion in and then line up the front. Once you have it lined up, it'll drop in just like that, but you need to press on it to latch it. Once you hear that click, that means it's in. All right, that's reinstalled. Now with our job done, let's reinstall the fuse. If it's still in your fuse puller, simply take that and press it down, double check it by hand, and then put your fuse puller right back. Take the cap that goes to this fuse box, press it down, lock it in. Now we have to prime the fuel system so that there's no air in the lines after they've been disconnected. So what you want to do is turn the ignition on and off several times, so cycling it. This being a push button start, what we have to do is push on the button twice to turn the ignition on. We'll wait a few seconds. That's going to run the fuel pump. Shut it back off. And we'll do it again. And a third time. At this point, we can try to start it. Now we'll step on the brakes and turn the engine on. All right, it started a little bit. That's totally normal. At this point, we'll just let it run, make sure everything is good. And there you have it. Job is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.